Welcome to Grand Sumo Breakdown,
the unofficial sumo podcast
for official sumo fans. Welcome to Grand Sumo Breakdown. This is Jake.
This is Mac.
And we are here with some of our friends from Ohio. We have Ben Lacy and Darius Campbell. Ben, how are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. How's everything going with you guys?
Excellent. I see you have all these anime posters in the background, and Mac is far more qualified than I to discuss them. But
very much approved. I like
always
it.
Fun to see when we get somebody on video. Darius, you're a little camera shy, but you're doing okay too today.
Yeah, I'm doing great.
Excellent. Yeah, just for context, Darius is the founder of Ohayo Sumo. How long you been wrestling, by the way, Darius?
My first tournament was the 2018 U.S. Open, so kind of dove in the deep end there. But
no kidding.
I've been pretty steady with it since then. So
yeah, you've been following sumo for a long time. I know you back in 2020 when we were doing we did a fundraiser trivia for the Sumo Federation, and Darius wiped the floor with us. I think
Completely.
That's the first time.
mm-hmm.
But yeah, and then Ben, we've got Ben on here who has started the second Ohayo Sumo Club in Dayton. So yeah, you guys are expanding. You got a little bit to catch up with Texas and Florida, but you're getting there. How'd that all start? How'd you guys decide to start branching out like that?
I guess I'll field that one. Basically, it's just for convenience. The Ohayo Sumo Association meets in Kentucky at the moment, and that was we have some members who drive further than I do, so I guess I really shouldn't complain, but I was just getting tired of driving. It was about a 4-hour drive one way, and then train, and then 4 hours back. And so let's get something a little closer, So I was like, okay, well, Dayton was kind of, because we have members in Indiana, we have members in Kentucky, and it was kind of, that was a place to split the hairs, so to speak. And so I was like, okay, let's get a club there. I was the owner of the GU Dojo, as it's a traditional Aikijutsu, Kenjutsu kind of a place, and he was pretty excited. Sat down with him, he's kind of old school, so he had a man-to-man meeting, and then he was really cool with it. And so that's where we've been. Coming up, it'll be April will be our 1-year anniversary there.
Oh wow.
And, it'd be nice to I'm also thinking ahead because I'm watching what the Texas guys do, and I see that Justin does sumo in the park, and I'm like, well, let's gauge, thinking about Columbus to expand as well, have another club there. So we have 2 clubs in Ohio. And I think a sumo in the park and make that free for people would be a good way to gauge interest in the city. So, but yeah, that's how that got started. So.
Yeah, the Texas, they got 4 clubs now, five major ones. They're definitely guys to emulate if you're looking to branch out. But
yeah, they're really active on social media too. So it's gotta do what they do.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got Corey down there, who's a professional videographer. So they got a high standard there. But yeah, so you guys, we found out that you guys had started a club just by we crossed paths on Instagram. Is that the dojo you're talking about? That you guys the Instagram is just excellent. The background that you guys have there, it seems like the perfect place to practice.
Yeah, that's all the head sensei of that dojo is Suksendu, and he's got, I think he's a Nidan in judo. I don't know what his rank is in ninjutsu, and he also has aikijutsu and kenjutsu background. And that's all him. He's all the decor. He's been in Dayton, I think, since if I remember correctly, 1999. Yeah, wow. So he's had a dojo there for a long while. And it's just the decor is all him. Everyone loves it, and it's a great place to be. I'm glad that he allows our club to be there. So
yeah, right on.
So yeah, I mean, if you'd told me otherwise, I would have been like, oh yeah, these guys practice in Japan. Sure.
Yeah. Well, another cool thing about him is that when he was in Japan, he actually got to train with Asashoryu from the Yokozuna. And so on his workout list, there's Shiko and stuff. And so he took a lot of that stuff back from Japan. And so it is a really nice place to train, and has a really authentic environment, I feel,
Very cool. How many Shiko are we talking when you guys get together? Probably fewer than us, to show you.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely a lot fewer. I remember Sook telling me that he couldn't get up off a chair the next day. His legs were so blitzed. He just couldn't move.
Yeah, I think we worked with Ed from the Federation to do a little bit of like sumo fitness research and stuff like that. And I think like 200, I did it like one time and then I like felt paralyzed. But yeah, I mean, guys over in Japan do like 500 or something like that. They just do it all day long, right?
Yeah. Thank God we weren't recording video at that point.
Oh God, yeah, that would have been gross. Oh well. But yeah, Darius, we saw you again in Vegas this year, competing in heavyweight. Did you do open weight as well?
No, I didn't do open weight. With it not being a qualifying, I just wanted to make sure I stayed healthy and didn't risk any injury or anything. I would really like to have gotten in the top 3 at Vegas, but I can't complain about my performance. I think I did my brand of sumo and tried the best I could. So
that's as best of a sumo answer I think I could ever hear from you, Darius.
Yeah, you've been listening to some pro interviews there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh man, but no, it was great to see you there. You guys, we've talked to basically everybody we've talked to about U.S. sumo. Like travel's always the biggest difficulty. But yeah, you guys have travel plans this year for some more tournaments. What's the next one you guys have coming up?
Yeah, so for me, the next one is probably going to be that April Nationals at FitCon. I was at the first FitCon tournament that they did in 2019, and that was a really fun and good event to do, especially because there's other stuff besides sumo. So like if you're going with someone else, it's easy for them to, have something else they can see if they get tired of sumo. But we had a great crowd and a great amount of people, and so I'm excited to have nationals there.
Yeah, that'll be fun. Yeah, I know there's some stuff going on in Florida. Ben, were you or you're traveling to Florida in the next couple months here too, right?
Yeah. The camp that the U.S. team is having in Florida with former professional Wakanoho. I'll be there as well to try to get my butt kicked and get as much information and experience as I can, and bring that over to my guys and make them better. I also have another trip planned to Austin, and I'm going to be hitting Dark Circle up and training with them that week. So it's basically just going to be a training year for me. Try to get my sumo better. So
yeah, because you've only been doing this as a hobby for like a year or so, right?
Yeah, sumo for a year, wrestling a lot longer than that. But the tachi just took me 6 months just to wrap around, just to be okay with slamming my head into another person. Okay,
sure.
Bro, let's be like Rams. Let's do this.
Yeah.
And now it's trying to wean myself of the habit of grabbing the mawashi the first thing when we tachi, because I watch a lot of the Japanese guys and it's all sapari, and then when they see the opportunity they get the mawashi and do a technique, and I'm kind of coming out like, give me, and it's just not the way to do it. So a lot of habits I gotta break. So yeah.
So does that mean you have a history with other types of martial arts? You said you've known wrestling a little bit more. So anything else?
Absolutely. So 1999 I started training in Japanese jiu-jitsu. I was doing Saikan jiu-jitsu. We were very fortunate at that time that the UFC was really kicking off, and there were Mark Coleman and Kevin Randleman were 2 members in the UFC. Mark Coleman was actually a heavyweight champ, and he lived in Ohio, and specifically in the Hilliard area where I was training. And so he would drop by the dojo where I was training at, and he brought another guy named Scott Shipman and Brandon Lee Hinkle, who was also a UFC fighter. And so they also had like submission wrestling classes as well. So like Monday through Friday, I was training. Monday, Wednesday, Friday was submission wrestling, and Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday was jiu-jitsu. And so it was a great time to be alive then. And did that for 5 years. And then when I went to college later on, I got hooked up with a Chinese wrestling art called Shuaijiao. And so it's like, if you look it up on YouTube, it's like short jacket wrestling, kind of like Mongolian. It was brought into China by the Mongols when they were conquered. And so did that for a while. And then mess around with some BJJ guys too. So
gotcha. Try to a little bit of everything. It sounds like
a little bit of everything. Yeah. And then
Yeah.
I saw it's like, once I saw sumo, I'm like, I really want to try that. Let's just jump in.
Yeah, I was just about to ask that. So what made you want to transition into sumo? What got you into it?
Anime. Hinomaro Sumo. Yes, I love that anime. And so I'm a big anime guy. I've been watching anime since I was 15 years old. So I was back in 1995 when it used to be on like Sci-Fi Channel, and they would have like anime Saturdays. And so and so big anime nerd. And that's pretty much all I watch now too. And I saw Hinomaro Sumo. I thought this is really cool. Then tried to look up, websites where I could find sumo, and I was off Facebook at the time, and I really didn't want to get back on that platform. But
don't blame you there.
No,
that's the only place where they're at. So I was kind of forced to. There are no websites, so that's what got me into it. And I saw the Ohayo Sumo Association, and I saw that they were meeting, and this is 2020, so the first lockdown. Meeting outside was cool. They're like, okay, outside is nice and sunshine, and the virus isn't like that. And so I was like, I got into it. I got my butt kicked. I did not win a single match, and I love it. I'm the type of person that I love a challenge, and when I'm not good at something, my just OCD kicks in. I'm like, nope, I got to do this.
Again.
Yep, absolutely.
Can't half-ass it.
Nope.
Yep.
Right on.
Oh man. No, that's funny, especially the getting into sumo through Hinomaru. That's really funny to me because like that anime is like we've always referred to it as like this over the top love letter to sumo.
Yeah.
There's so much in there that like it's funny to see the perspective of somebody getting into sumo because of that rather than the other way around. Oh man. No, that's cool. So you guys training in Ohio there together. You guys what other guys do you have that our listeners might know of that have seen at tournaments? What kind of roster do you guys have, and what are your plans for expanding in the future there?
See, Darius, you want to field the roster with who's been in tournaments and better than I do.
Yeah, so I know you guys are familiar with Jake Book. He
oh yeah,
he was one of the co-founders for Ohayo Sumo, and so he comes out to events, and this year he wasn't able to get out to a lot, but I know, last year he wasn't able to get out to a lot, but this year he's looking to get into more, stuff. Dane Bogart, he was at Nationals in Austin. I think he did really good. Wes Bjornson used to be in our club, but he's there. Simeon, I'm trying to remember his last name.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember Simeon. I remember seeing him on the roster.
Yeah. But he just went out to the U.S. Open with me, and so we have a few guys that
Nick Biggs. He was at he comes down. He was a little bit more of a drive for Nick because he's like Tennessee area, but he definitely makes it. And it's like fighting in a tournament every match with that guy. The energy he brings. I mean, he's only 160 pounds and he hits me like he's 200. It's great. I love having matches with Nick. It's awesome.
Yeah, Nick and his twin brother Dylan.
I was about to say Dylan was the other one I remembered.
Oh yeah, Dylan too. Yeah.
Yeah. They're twins, but you wouldn't know it. Looking at them.
Mm-hmm. But Dylan's in Tennessee. I got them both confused. They look alike. No.
But one of them still sports blue hair, right? Unless they both went for the blue hair.
That's Nick.
Okay, that's what I thought. Nick had the blue hair.
Yeah, Nick, he's great.
Yeah, they're almost polar opposites because you got Nick, he has the wild hair and the tattoos, and then you got Dylan, who was like a West Point graduate and stuff like that. So
just straight edge.
That's opposite ends of the spectrum there.
But they bring good energy every time they train. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Hey, real quick, you mentioned Jake. I've seen fellow Iowan, by the way. So
yes.
always try and stay tight with him. But I've heard he's starting a new research project. He's been posting about that on Instagram. What can you tell us about that? I mean, obviously we should ask Jake too. But, as long as we got you guys here.
So Jake is just really always wanted to look at the history of sumo in America and show its story. And I mean, the U.S. has probably one of the richest heritage for sumo outside of Japan. And so he just really wanted to show that fruition from even way back in the 1800s when you first get the first, Japanese immigrants coming into the U.S. and doing tournaments along the West Coast and then just spreading in Hawaii and stuff like that. So really just want to show people that history and heritage there.
That's really cool. Yeah,
awesome.
I'm excited to see where that goes.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
Well, the other thing I guess I wanted to ask you guys about is just because we try to get a finger on the pulse for any of the clubs that we talk to, but actually in training, how what kind of training do you do besides the obvious, like Shiko, sure, and matches, sure, but what how do you guys tailor your training to your sumo?
Well, I know it's like in the Dayton club I'm, because of my background being in jiu-jitsu and a lot of throwing arts, we try to focus on situational like Kamarate drills. So we'll have something like something I see, like for example, like Yorikiri into Watanage. Like, so you see that in matches all the time. Just guys grabbing Yorikiri, get up against the Tawari, and then your opponent just resisting 100%, and then they switch over into like a Watanage or Shitantanage. And so we'll drill that, and we've got that into also like an ashitori technique. So Yorikiri failed Watanage. Okay, now what do? The opponent's leg is right there. Come down for basically like an
ashitori.
Yeah, ashitori, and bring that up. So we do a lot of drills like that, trying to chain techniques together. Focus also too on a lot of belt grip breaking as well. Like, okay, you guys if he's got two hands on you and you don't like that, then just break that grip and move on to something else. So that's what I've been basically just trying to work more, just drills, because I know like the judo clubs and jiu-jitsu and even the wrestling I did, they would just chain 3, 4, 5 techniques, and then you would get caught on the third or the fourth one. Not usually 1 or 2 doesn't work out. Sometimes if you're lucky it does, but so that's really what we've been trying to do at the Dayton club. So
how would you compare that, like in sumo? Do you feel like you go through as many tiers of steps as you would in like a wrestling or a judo type thing?
Yes and no. It's harder to, because you're dealing right with the person's center of gravity with the mawashi, so it's really just harder to move them and to set stuff up. Like with jacket wrestling, it's so much easier for me to set up leg trips and things of that nature. It's easier to pull you off balance because I got a hold of your jacket up here, I've got a hold of your sleeve.
You got like longer levers to work with, I guess.
Longer levers, and it's easier to attack the feet. Whereas like it's someone's like just keeping their hips back, and I've got a hold of them washing. I'm like, crap, what do I do?
Right, so, too stable. It's like, crap, what do I do?
Sure. Yeah, what do I do? And so, and that's just I guess part of this, I guess, sumo journey for myself is just figuring that out too. It's like, okay, well, how much can I get away with like wrestling? I know overhook, underhook, pulling the heads down, things of using different techniques to try to get them to prop up. One thing we need to focus more on in the Dayton club would be, and we will be in the future, is Sapari. Like we have it's my fault just because I'm a throw guy. I love throwing people.
The Watanages, Shidatanages, any kind of throwing technique.
Like Hoshoryu or sure. Watching him a lot, and I was like, yep, that's what I need to be doing. But because of that, I'll focus too much on it, and I don't do the Sapari as much. And I'm like, we got to get out of that habit and come up and start slapping each other around.
Sure. That or sweep the leg. Just sweep the leg, take the legs out from under them, and watch them fall.
Yep. Yeah, it's a great feeling when you pick someone up and you just toss them to the ground. There's just nothing better. I feel like that's like a home run, like in baseball or anything like that. It's awesome. You just like high five.
If you've watched any of the professionals from this past tournament, Aqua being able to throw that man around just looks like it would be a treat.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, awesome. We're no spoilers or anything, but we are recording this the day that the January tournament ended, and
yes,
we want to keep the topic on you guys for now, because I know that we could all talk about that tournament as much as long as we had time for. That's for sure.
God, Aqua was just an endless source of frustration with that guy. Like, stop going to the well so many times.
It's the Kakenage.
It's
like, set it up. For the love of God, set up the throw and just stop going right to it. Everyone knows to expect it.
Yeah. No, this was a very illustrative one because Aqua did funny stuff, like just comedy sumo happened to him the first couple days. So I started posting about him on Instagram more often, and now like there's all these complicated discussions of like what his grip is and like why is he failing in the same funny way every time, and it's been good to learn about technique like that from the guys on Instagram that actually do the wrestling like you guys. Oh well.
And I just find it.
Sorry, go ahead, Darius.
No, and I was like, I just find it interesting, that he has those difficulties because of who his stablemates are. When you have Meisei and Hoshoryu as your stablemates you're training with on a daily basis, like trying to figure out where that disconnect is, because both of those are really good, belt wrestlers. So
sure.
Like, why isn't this working?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and talent or otherwise, it's just a compulsion for Aqua to try that same trip every single time.
This should work. Why isn't this working?
Yeah.
One of the theories I thought I'd ask you guys about as active competitors is like when to me the vibe I got from especially that situation is Aqua I bet he landed that move spectacularly in the gym once. Right. So like now, do you think is that like a thing? Do you think he's like fixated on it, trying to get it to work again? Do you think it's just he doesn't have enough tools in the bag to try something else? What do you think?
I think, yeah. So speaking for myself, like I used to do, there's a similar throw in judo called Ushimata. And it's basically like Kakanage. You're supposed to go up in between the legs and you lift the person up and then you throw them. And then it's in Saijiao, it's like upper control leg blocking, I think is how it translates from Chinese. I don't know the Chinese term. Sure. But so I just got really good at that throw, but everyone would see it coming. It's like you just want to get it because it's such a spectacular. You get them up in the air, you flip them over, they land on their back, their breath escapes them, and you're like, yes. And
sure.
It's like I said, it's a great feeling, but you just for myself, I can only speak for myself. I just got so fixated. I just want to get this, and then everyone sees it coming. They know how to counter you, and then it's like crap. Then you can't do it anymore.
Yeah,
you gotta either set it up different ways, or you gotta find something else, and then occasionally come back to that particular technique that you like. But you can't once you go to the well too often. It just ruins it. Like we have a really good wrestler named Hunter, and I'd like to see him in more tournaments in the next coming year. And when he first started out, like training with me, it was like I would have 24 matches against him and beat him every single time. But now over the past year, he's gotten so used to everything that I do. I only win with him with the Orikiri. I cannot throw him at all.
Sure.
Counters all of it. He knows all of it's coming. Watanage, Shiratanage, Kakenage. It does not Tsukiyonage. It does not matter what I try with him. None of it works. So go to the well too much. You got to find other stuff to do.
That's funny. Yeah, as guys that follow pro sumo, who are your favorite guys that you've watched over in the past? Current guys, Darius, who's your guy?
Yeah, so my favorite guy by far all time is Kasuno Sato. I remember watching him and I just loved his style, how it was very straightforward, and I think the more you learn about Japanese culture and the meaning of sumo, I thought he just embodied it very well. And I know he's coming more out of his shell now that he's a oyakata, but he was very just he wasn't showboaty or flashy. He just did his style of sumo, very straightforward, strong. Some other guys I really enjoy from the past is Kitanomi is another guy I really enjoy and like and want to see him succeed. And currently it's Asanoyama is my favorite guy. Once he comes back, I'll be
Yeah, I was gonna say a rough year for you.
Ooh.
Yeah, so I'm waiting for him to return, and there's a couple more lower ranked guys, like I don't know if you know Shishi.
Yeah.
Yeah, so my first tournament, I actually got to wrestle against him at the U.S. Open, and so I always kind of root for him to succeed, and Ozumo as well. So
Very is he cool. In Makushita? Is he still working? I forget what level he's at right now.
No, Makushita.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
That's really cool. I guess I didn't realize that Americans, we would have gotten a chance to wrestle against him before before he got into it. That's really cool.
How about you, Ben?
Currently, well, because I got into sumo so late, love the typical names, Asashoyu, Haruma Fuji. Like watching a lot of his matches as well. And then right now in the jury division is Kaisho. I love watching him just because he just in training he just has a lot of energy, and his tachiai is something I'm trying to do. So I was like, oh, I like his tachiai. He just comes straight at, I'm a big fan of a shoulder tachiai because I just don't want to mess up my noggin too much clanking against people. So I watch him to try to engage of how to do it and go from there.
That was going to be my follow up. Is it because you want to emulate him or because he's fun to watch? But yeah,
yeah, basically. And
I guess
Fuji, the Mongolians for all the technique, but Kaisho for his tachiai for sure. So.
Yeah, Darius, I feel like that question was kind of a gimme for you because, you mentioned Kisano Sato, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's kind of how Darius wrestles.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I think you kind of gravitate towards those guys that you want to emulate, in your sumo, and and so I like I said, the Kitanomi and Kisano Sato, they have a style that I really enjoy. I've always been a more belt or Yatsuzumo wrestler than a Oshi sumo wrestler. So those are why I've always really enjoyed those guys and just their stoic demeanor. I've just never been a fan of a whole bunch of extra in sumo, at least.
I never would have guessed.
But Ben, you should also watch Takami Sakari if you like a good shoulder tachiai.
Okay.
So he literally, when he would train, he would take a metal pole and would literally just ram his shoulder into it. And so eventually he just got this huge knot on his shoulder. And he ended up getting a kimboshi over Asashoryu using a really good shoulder tachiai from him. So, yeah.
Well, that's a heck of a history dive there. Is that RoboCop?
Yes.
Yeah.
I was about to say that name sounds so familiar.
Yeah, Akebono's a training partner, and didn't he take over the stable?
Yeah,
or something. He was very. I remember he's notable because he has like a very silly over the top pre-bout ritual. He just has these over the top silly robotic motions that he does, and Akebono referred to him as RoboCop. That's funny. Yeah, Takami Sakari. Cool. Well, yeah. Anything else you guys wanted to bring up? Otherwise, let's say I'm somebody who wants to wrestle and I'm in the Midwest. How do I get a hold of some guys in Ohio to start wrestling?
Completely kick my ass.
Yeah. Let's say I want to get my ass kicked, and I'm in Ohio, Kentucky, Indiana area.
Yep. Facebook's the best way, honestly. Back
Ow.
on it, so I got to jump in, both feet and go up and drown myself. No, so yeah, Facebook, Ohayo Sumo Dayton, or Ohayo Sumo Association, and reach out. And we have our times on Ohayo Sumo Dayton's Facebook page. That when we practice, it's basically very regular. It's as the first and third Saturdays of the month. Right now, that's what we can do. And then any other time than that, they can reach out to the Ohayo Sumo Association and get the practice times of when they're going to be in Kentucky. And Georgetown, I believe, is the where they practice at in Kentucky. And usually on the weekends where we're not practicing, they are. So you can always get some kind of training time in. So
sure, Georgetown. That's where you're at, Darius.
Yeah, I flip flop. It just because I work one weekend and I'm off the next, and so just depending on how the month falls, I'll either train at Georgetown or at Dayton. I kind of like that because it gives me a chance to really share my knowledge with both clubs and get to see really everybody in the association. We also have an email, ohiosumo@gmail.com, so you can reach out there too if you just really despise the Facebook.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's OHAYO. That's A+ pun, by the way. I
Yes.
don't
Love
say
it
enough. A+.
I mean, I'm from Cincinnati, Ohio. I mean, I'm from Dayton, Ohio, but live in Cincy, and so Ohio being a nice greeting, I want it to be like a welcome to the club. It's welcome for everybody to come in, and also, you know, word association with the state. So I just always thought it was a cool thing.
Yeah.
Me and Jake also do a podcast as well, Ohayo Sumo Podcast. So if you ever listen to that, give it a listen.
Yeah, if you're sick of the one that you're listening to, and you want some guys that actually have experience and know what they're talking about a little bit more, check that one out.
We wouldn't blame you if you stop listening to us and join these guys.
No, I think it's all we kind of take almost like a trying to record an oral history of sumo. So we do interviews with guys and really try and get their story down so that it can be passed forward. And you can hear it, like first source, from them, so we've talked to Kanishki and John Gunning and Ed and different guys like that, just trying to really get their history down and really, for guys who might not have that chance otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
So if you're sick of broing down with GSB and looking for something a little more formal, but no, thank you guys so much for joining us. Check out Ohayo Sumo Facebook, Gmail. Find these guys on Instagram too if you want to see training pictures and stuff like that. Ben, you're at Sumo Benji.
Yep.
And Darius, you're not quite as active on Instagram, right?
Yeah, I'm not.
Gotcha. I was just scanning through the Ohayo Sumo. You guys have. I was looking for your club account though. That one's a little bit more active.
Mm-hmm.
That's just OHAYO Sumo, Ohayo Sumo on Instagram. Check them out there, especially if you are looking to get into wrestling. We're in a aggressive expansion phase of US Sumo, so if you ever thought about giving it a shot, now's the time.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah, Darius, Ben, thanks so much for joining us. We'll catch you guys later.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Grand Sumo Breakdown. Until next time,
Throw your salt high
and keep moving forward.